What if everything you thought you knew about the moon was wrong? For centuries, humanity has gazed upon our celestial neighbor, believing we understood its story. But beneath its familiar face lie secrets that could redefine Earth's own past and future. Prepare to see the moon in a way you've never imagined. And before we begin this journey, make sure to subscribe to Star Sky Science, your gateway to the mysteries of the universe. The moon is more than just a silent companion in our night sky. It has been humanity's first clock, our first compass, and our first mystery. Long before written language, before empires rose and fell, human beings looked upward and saw in the glowing orb a cosmic storyteller, a silent witness to the unfolding drama of life on Earth. For early humans, survival depended on rhythm. The rhythm of seasons, the migrations of animals, the rise and fall of tides, and the moon, steady, predictable, mesmerizing, offered a celestial rhythm unlike anything else. Its waxing and waning became the world's first calendar. It guided harvests, rituals, and even the earliest attempts at science. In Mesopotamia, priests carefully mapped the moon's movements, convinced its phases revealed the will of the gods. In ancient Egypt, the moon was linked to Thoth, the god of wisdom and measurement. And in China, imperial astronomers recorded every eclipse, fearing each darkened moon carried a message from the heavens. But the moon was not only a clock, it was a canvas for imagination. To the Greeks, it was the silver chariot of Artemis, goddess of the hunt. To the Aztecs, it was Coilxauhqui, a warrior goddess cast into the sky in pieces. To Polynesian voyagers, the moon was a guide across the vast Pacific, lighting pathways over waters unknown. In every culture, the moon was alive, a being, a deity, a force. Humanity projected its hopes and fears upon that glowing face, carving stories from shadows and myths from craters. But even in myth, fragments of truth remained. One of the moon's most mysterious powers revealed itself not in the sky, but in the ocean. Ancient coastal communities noticed the sea's strange breathing, waters retreating and returning with the moon's cycle. Though they could not know the physics, they sensed a connection. The moon pulled at the very lifeblood of Earth, the oceans. What they could not have known was that without these tides, life on Earth might never have evolved beyond the shallow seas. The moon was not just a spectator of life's story, it was a co-author. As civilizations advanced, the moon's role shifted from myth to measurement, from deity to data. Ancient astronomers became the first scientists of the moon, peering into the heavens to unlock patterns written in light and shadow. The Greek philosopher Aristotle believed the moon marked the boundary between the perfect, unchanging heavens and the imperfect, ever-changing earth. For him, the moon was a realm of purity, flawless, eternal. Its light, he believed, was its own. But this belief would not last. When humanity first pointed telescopes at the moon, the illusion shattered. The moon was not flawless. It bore scars. The great thinker Anaxagoras challenged the old beliefs centuries earlier. He suggested that the moon was not a god, nor a perfect light, but a rock, a world lit by the sun. For such radical ideas, he was imprisoned. Truth, it seemed, was dangerous when it threatened myth. Yet his idea would be vindicated. When Galileo Galilei lifted his small telescope in the early 16th century and turned it toward the moon, humanity's understanding cracked open. Through the lens, Galileo saw mountains and valleys, shadows stretching across craters, rugged terrain that looked shockingly like Earth. The heavens, once thought perfect, were now revealed as scarred and imperfect. The moon was no divine mirror. It was a world. Galileo's discoveries transformed not only science, but philosophy itself. If the moon was a world, Could there be others? If the heavens bore scars, what did that mean for Earth's place in the cosmos? The questions multiplied. Still, mystery lingered. Where had the moon come from? Why did it circle Earth so faithfully? And what role did it play in shaping life below? The earliest theories were bold. Some suggested the moon had been torn from Earth itself. The Great Pacific Ocean, they imagined, was the scar left behind. Others believed the moon was a wandering body, captured by Earth's gravity long ago. And still others proposed that Earth and moon formed together, side by side, as cosmic twins. Each theory carried fragments of truth, but none could fully explain the evidence. The moon's density was different from Earth's. Its composition hinted at a violent past. And yet, without samples, humanity could only guess. For millennia, the moon remained distant, visible, familiar, and yet unreachable. But even from afar, its influence could not be ignored. The moon stabilized Earth's tilt, preventing wild swings that would have turned climate into chaos. It lengthened days, slowing Earth's rotation and giving life time to adapt and evolve. Its steady pull on the oceans carved the rhythms of life itself. Without the moon, Earth would be a different world, perhaps a hostile one, perhaps a lifeless one. The ancients sensed its power. They wove it into stories, sacrifices, and symbols. Kings and emperors claimed its light as a sign of divine authority. Priests read omens in its phases. Poets gave it voice. The moon became both a mirror and a mystery, a reminder of humanity's smallness and a promise of something greater. As centuries passed, the myths gave way to mathematics. Astronomers charted the moon's orbit with precision. The Babylonians had tracked its cycles. The Greeks refined models of its motion. Islamic scholars preserved and expanded that knowledge. In India and China, detailed records stretched back centuries. By the time of Isaac Newton, the laws of gravity could finally explain the moon's dance around Earth. The heavens were no longer unknowable. They were governed by laws, and the moon obeyed them. Yet, even as science advanced, the moon's deeper mysteries remained sealed. Telescopes revealed detail, but not origin. Mathematics described motion, but not meaning. The moon hung in the sky, silent, withholding its story. And so humanity returned to myth, even in the age of reason. The moon was said to inspire madness. The word lunatic itself was born from lunar influence. Poets called it the keeper of secrets. Lovers called it a witness. And dreamers always called it a destination. That destination would remain out of reach until technology caught up with imagination. For tens of thousands of years, humanity had only gazed upward. We would soon reach. But before rockets, before astronauts, before footprints pressed into dust, humanity's relationship with the moon was shaped by something more primal. Fear, awe, reverence. The moon was a light in the darkness, a measure of time, a master of tides, and a muse for myths. It was the first mystery written in the sky. And that is where our journey begins, in the myths of ancestors, in the first calendars carved in stone, in the tides that carried life from the seas to the shore, in the telescopes that shattered illusions, and in the unanswered questions that still haunt us today. This is the moon's ancient allure, the story of how humanity first met its silent companion, the first chapter in a mystery that will take us from ancient temples to the edge of space itself. And as we turn the page to the next chapter, one question will guide us. Where did the moon come from? For within that question lies not only the secret of the moon, but the hidden story of Earth itself.
The moon's presence in our sky feels timeless. It has circled Earth faithfully, waxing and waning since long before humanity drew its first breath. But where did it come from? This question has haunted scientists, philosophers, and dreamers for centuries. The answer is far from simple, and the journey toward it reveals not only the secrets of the moon, but the violent history of Earth itself. To understand the moon's origin, we must first look at the evidence. The moon is large compared to Earth, unusually large for a satellite. Its diameter is over 1/4 that of our planet. No other planet in the solar system has such a proportionally massive companion. The moon's density is also strange. It is less dense than Earth, meaning it has less iron at its core. Yet chemically, its rocks resemble those of Earth's crust and mantle. The moon is both like us and not like us. Its orbit, too, is peculiar. The moon always shows one face to Earth. It is tidally locked, turning on its axis in perfect synchrony with its orbit. This intimate connection suggests a long and complex history. Over the centuries, scientists proposed 4 main theories of the moon's origin. Each theory sought to explain the same mysteries. Why is the moon there? Why does it resemble Earth? And why is it so unusual compared to other moons? The first theory was known as the fission theory. It suggested that the moon was once part of Earth itself. Long ago, Earth spun so rapidly that a chunk of its crust broke away and drifted into orbit, forming the moon. At first, this idea seemed elegant. It explained why the moon's rocks resemble Earth's rocks. It even seemed to explain the Great Pacific Ocean, imagined as the scar left behind when the moon tore free. But the fission theory had problems. For one, Earth does not spin nearly fast enough today for such a violent separation to occur. Even if it had spun faster in the past, the physics did not align. And the Pacific Ocean is not nearly old enough to match the moon's age. The second theory was the capture theory. This idea suggested that the moon formed elsewhere in the solar system and was later captured by Earth's gravity. It explained why the moon seemed so different from Earth's core. Perhaps it was an alien world, stolen and bound to our planet. But this too had flaws. Capturing such a large object would have required impossible conditions. Earth's gravity could not simply snare a wandering body the size of the moon without some tremendous braking force. Instead of capture, the moon would have been flung past us or shattered in the attempt. The third theory was the co-formation, or double planet theory. It imagined that Earth and Moon formed together, side by side, from the same cloud of dust and gas. In this view, the Moon was Earth's twin, born from the same cosmic nursery. This idea explained why the Moon's composition was so similar to Earth's. But again, the details did not fit. If the Moon formed alongside Earth, it should contain more iron, just as Earth does. Instead, it seemed depleted, as though stripped of its heavy elements. For centuries, none of these theories satisfied. Each explained part of the puzzle, but none explained the whole. Then came the fourth theory, the one that would revolutionize planetary science: the giant impact hypothesis. According to this idea, early Earth was struck by a colossal object billions of years ago. This impactor, perhaps the size of Mars, collided with our young planet in a cataclysm beyond imagination. The collision vaporized rock, melted crust, and hurled molten debris into orbit. From that fiery wreckage, the Moon was born. This theory explained much. It explained why the Moon is made mostly of lighter materials, like Earth's mantle, and not heavier metals. The iron from the impactor likely merged with Earth's core, leaving the Moon depleted. It explained why Earth and Moon share nearly identical isotopes. They came from the same source. And it explained why the Moon is so large compared to Earth. A violent collision could produce a massive satellite, unlike any other in the solar system. Computer simulations supported the idea. They showed how an object the size of Mars, later named Theia, could have struck Earth at just the right angle to produce such a result. The newborn Moon, glowing with heat, slowly drifted away from Earth, cooling and solidifying over millions of years. But even this elegant solution left questions. If the Moon formed from a mixture of Earth and Theia, why are their isotopes nearly identical? No other planet shares such a precise chemical fingerprint. Did Theia itself form in Earth's orbit? Was it a true stranger or a lost twin? Some scientists suggest the impact was even more extreme than once imagined. Perhaps Earth and Theia were vaporized into a shared cloud of molten rock, a synestia, a spinning donut of fire. From this fiery structure, the Moon condensed, made almost entirely from Earth itself. This could explain the chemical match. Others propose multiple impacts, not one. Perhaps Earth was struck again and again in its youth, each collision adding material until the Moon finally coalesced. This view would also explain the Moon's unusual composition and its lack of water and volatile elements. But the mysteries do not end there. Deep inside the Moon, spacecraft have detected strange mass concentrations, mascons, dense regions buried beneath ancient craters. What created them? Are they remnants of the Great Impact, or scars of smaller collisions that followed? The Moon's far side adds another layer of mystery. Unlike the near side, with its dark maria, vast plains of frozen lava, the far side is rugged, mountainous, and scarred with deep craters. Why are the two faces so different? Was the impact that formed the Moon uneven? Did tidal heating on the near side shape it differently? Or does the far side still hold clues to the Moon's true origin? The more we learn, the deeper the mystery becomes. The Apollo missions brought back rocks that seemed to confirm the giant impact theory. But those same rocks also revealed puzzles. The isotopes of oxygen, silicon, and titanium were nearly identical to Earth's. Too identical. If the Moon contained much of Theia's material, it should bear a different signature. Why does it not? Some researchers argue that Theia may have formed in the same region of the solar system as Earth, sharing the same composition. Others argue that Earth's violent mixing after the collision erased the differences. Still others believe we are missing an even deeper story. Perhaps the Moon is not simply the child of Earth and Theia. Perhaps it is the remnant of a world lost entirely. Some scientists whisper of the possibility that Earth once had multiple moons, smaller companions that eventually collided and merged into the one moon we see today. Could the far side's mountains be the scar of such a merger? Even wilder ideas persist on the fringes of science. That the Moon was engineered, that its orbit is too perfect, its size too precise, its role in eclipses too uncanny to be coincidence. Mainstream science rejects such speculation, yet the allure of the Moon's mystery remains. For what we know, even now, is incomplete. The Moon's exact origin is still debated. The giant impact hypothesis remains the leading theory, but it is not the final word. New missions, new samples, and new models may yet rewrite the story.
What is certain is this: the moon was forged in fire. Its birth was violent, its history tumultuous. It is a survivor of cosmic catastrophe, bound forever to Earth by the chains of gravity. And in that binding, it shaped everything that followed. Without the moon, Earth would wobble chaotically. Seasons would lurch. Climates would swing wildly. The tides would vanish, and life as we know it might never have emerged.
The moon's surface is like a book written in stone, scarred by time, and preserved by silence. Unlike Earth, where wind, water, and life erase the past, the moon keeps its memories. Every crater, every ridge, every frozen lava plain is a page in the story of the solar system. When humans first stepped onto the lunar surface in 1969, they brought back more than courage and footprints. They carried home rocks, and in those rocks lay secrets older than any life on Earth. The Apollo missions returned with over 380 kilograms of lunar material, dust, pebbles, and fragments of ancient mountains. To the naked eye, they looked ordinary, gray, dull, lifeless. But under the microscope, they revealed a world of fire, impact, and silence. The moon's rocks are dominated by two types: basalts, born from ancient lava flows, and anorthosites, the pale rocks that built the lunar highlands. These are not random stones. They are fossils of a world that once boiled with molten seas. Billions of years ago, the newborn moon was not cold and quiet. It was a sphere of magma, glowing with heat left over from its violent birth. This magma ocean stretched across its surface. As it cooled, minerals crystallized and separated. Heavier elements sank toward the core. Lighter ones floated upward, solidifying into a crust of anorthosite. That crust still shines today as the bright white highlands. When you look at the moon with your eyes, those gleaming regions are the frozen remnants of that first ocean of fire. But the moon did not stay quiet for long. Giant impacts reshaped its surface. Meteorites the size of cities slammed into the crust, punching vast holes and filling them with molten rock. These scars became the Lunar Maria, the dark plains that paint the familiar face of the moon. The Maria are seas in name only. They are frozen lava flows stretching for hundreds of kilometers. They were formed between 3 and 4 billion years ago, when the moon's interior still pulsed with heat. Volcanoes erupted, flooding the lowlands with basalt. As the lava cooled, it darkened, giving the Maria their shadowy hue. The contrast between highlands and Maria is one of the moon's greatest mysteries. Why is one side scarred with vast plains, while the other is rugged and mountainous? Why is the near side so different from the far side? Some scientists believe the near side's crust is thinner, making it easier for lava to break through. Others suspect the Earth's gravity played a role, tugging at the young moon and shaping its face. Whatever the cause, the two sides of the moon tell two very different stories. But the moon's surface is only the beginning. Beneath it lies an interior filled with puzzles. Seismic instruments left by Apollo astronauts revealed that the moon still trembles. Moonquakes ripple through its crust, sometimes triggered by tidal forces from Earth. These quakes are faint compared to earthquakes, but they show the moon is not entirely dead. At its center lies a small metallic core, far smaller than Earth's and containing much less iron. Surrounding it is a mantle rich in silicate minerals.
Unlike Earth, the Moon lacks a strong magnetic field, a sign that its core has cooled and slowed. Yet traces of ancient magnetism linger in its rocks, suggesting that billions of years ago, the Moon had a magnetic heart. Why did it fade? Why did the Moon's dynamo shut down while Earth's continues? The answers remain hidden in its deep interior. The Moon's geology holds other mysteries, too. Take the mascons, short for mass concentrations. These are regions beneath the lunar surface, where gravity is strangely strong. They were first discovered when early spacecraft drifted off course while orbiting the Moon. Something unseen was pulling at them. Mascons are found beneath the great lunar basins, like Imbrium and Serenitatis. Scientists believe they are the remains of molten rock that pooled after massive impacts, denser than the crust above. But their exact structure is still debated. Are they frozen seas of magma, or buried chunks of asteroid material left behind by collisions? Another enigma lies at the poles. In the shadows of craters that never see sunlight, spacecraft have detected water ice. How did it get there? Some say it arrived on comets, delivered in gentle impacts. Others argue it seeped from the Moon's interior, released by volcanic gases long ago. This ice is more than a curiosity. It is a resource. For future explorers, it could be turned into drinking water, oxygen, and even rocket fuel. In these frozen reserves, the Moon offers both a clue to its past and a promise for our future. The Moon also hides vast tunnels beneath its surface. These are lava tubes, hollow channels left behind by flowing lava. On Earth, such tubes exist in places like Hawaii. On the Moon, they could stretch for kilometers, forming natural shelters. Protected from radiation and micrometeorites, these caverns could one day house human settlements. But even these geological features raise questions. Why does the Moon still produce faint volcanic activity? Recent evidence suggests small eruptions may have occurred less than 100 million years ago, surprisingly recent in cosmic terms. Is the Moon more geologically active than we thought? The Apollo samples also showed something startling. Tiny glass beads trapped within the rocks contained water. Not oceans worth, but enough to suggest the Moon was never as bone dry as once believed. How much water does the Moon truly hold? And what does that say about its history? Even the soil itself is unusual. The lunar regolith is a fine, powdery dust created by billions of years of meteorite impacts. It clings to everything, sharp as glass, and dangerous to breathe. Yet hidden within it are solar wind particles, atoms from the sun trapped in the dust. Studying this soil gives us not only the history of the Moon, but the history of the sun itself. Then there are the strange lights. For centuries, observers have reported flashes and glows on the Moon's surface, known as transient lunar phenomena. Could these be outgassing events, where trapped gases escape from the crust? Could they be impacts or electrical discharges? Whatever they are, they suggest the Moon may not be as inert as it seems. All these clues paint a picture of a world both familiar and alien, a world shaped by fire, frozen by silence, scarred by impacts, and yet still whispering of activity deep within. The Moon is not just a dead rock. It is a survivor, bearing witness to 4.5 billion years of history. Its geology is a time capsule, preserving the story of the early solar system in a way Earth never could. Every crater tells of an impact that might have struck us instead. Every rock holds the memory of fire and ice. Every anomaly reminds us that the moon's story is far from fully told. And in those geological secrets lies a deeper truth. The moon is not just our companion, it is our protector. Its scars are reminders of cosmic violence, endured so that Earth could remain a cradle of life. Yet the moon still guards its greatest mysteries. How much water truly lies within its depths? What forces shaped the contrast between its two faces? And what lies buried beneath the mascons waiting to be revealed? To answer these questions, humanity must return, not just to visit, but to stay. For only by living on the moon can we truly unlock its hidden story. The geological secrets of the moon are not just about the past. They are a roadmap to the future, a guide to survival beyond Earth, and perhaps a clue to how worlds are born across the cosmos. The moon is both ancient and alive, and as we listen to its silent story, we move closer to understanding our own.
The moon is not just a silent companion. It is an architect, an invisible hand that has shaped the destiny of Earth for billions of years. Without the moon, our world would be unrecognizable, perhaps even lifeless. When the moon first formed, the Earth was still young, a world of oceans and fire spinning faster than it does today. Days were only a few hours long. The seas were restless, rising and falling with little rhythm. Then came the moon. Massive, close, and glowing in the night sky, it began to tug at Earth with its gravity. That tug created tides. Not the gentle tides we see today, but colossal surges, waves that could tower over coasts and crash inland. Over time, these tides became the pulse of the planet. They stirred the oceans, mixing nutrients, shaping currents, and influencing the chemistry of early seas. And in those seas, life began. Some scientists believed that the tidal pools created by the moon's pull were the cradle of the first organisms, pools that filled and drained, concentrating molecules, providing the perfect laboratory for chemistry to become biology. Without the moon, the story of life on Earth might never have begun. The moon also slowed Earth's rotation. Billions of years ago, our planet spun so fast that days lasted only 6 hours. But as the moon's gravity tugged on Earth's oceans, it acted like a brake. Gradually, the spin slowed. Days grew longer. And with that, the rhythms of life adjusted. Imagine a world where days flash by in 6 hours, the sun rising and setting 4 times in what we call a single day. Would complex life have found stability in such chaos? It is the moon that gave us the 24-hour cycle we know today. And the moon gave us more than time. It gave us stability. Earth tilts on its axis at an angle of about 23.5 degrees. That tilt is the reason we have seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter, all born from that cosmic lean. But without the moon, that tilt would wander. The pull of other planets, especially Jupiter, would cause Earth's axis to wobble wildly. Sometimes it might tilt only a few degrees, other times more than 60 degrees. Imagine a world where the poles sometimes point toward the sun, where ice caps melt, deserts burn, and climates swing violently from one extreme to another. Such chaos would make the rise of complex life almost impossible.
civilizations like ours could never take root in a world of constant climate collapse. The moon prevents that. Its steady gravitational pull locks Earth's tilt in place. Not perfectly still, but stable enough for life to flourish. In this way, the moon is not just a companion. It is a guardian, a protector of stability, a silent partner in Earth's long story. But the influence goes even deeper. The moon and Earth are locked together in a gravitational dance. The same side of the moon always faces us because of tidal locking. But this lock also means that the Earth and moon are exchanging energy. As Earth's rotation slows, the moon drifts farther away. Every year, the moon recedes by about 3.8 centimeters. It doesn't sound like much, but over billions of years, it has transformed the face of the night sky. When life first began, the moon loomed far larger than it does today. It filled the heavens, glowing like a second sun at night. Tides were stronger, days shorter, and Earth's rhythm more intense. As the moon retreats, tides weaken and days grow longer. Billions of years from now, the Earth may become tidally locked as well. One side always facing the moon, one side forever turned away. The dance between Earth and moon is not eternal. It is a slow evolution, and humanity is witnessing only a brief moment in this grand ballet. The moon's pull may also have influenced life's great evolutionary leaps. Consider the transition from sea to land. Tidal zones created by the moon's pull are unique environments, places of constant change, where creatures must adapt to both water and air. Some scientists suggest that it was in these tidal zones that the first amphibians crawled off to shore, beginning the conquest of land. Even the timing of reproductive cycles in many species is linked to the moon. From corals that spawn and sink with the lunar cycle, to sea turtles that lay eggs by moonlight, the moon has been a silent partner in evolution. But what of the future? The moon's influence continues to shape our destiny. As it drifts farther away, days will keep lengthening, tides will weaken, and climate patterns may shift in subtle ways. Far into the future, Earth's rotation and the moon's orbit may reach equilibrium, both bodies locked in eternal embrace, always showing the same face. At that moment, the dance ends. The Earth-Moon system will become frozen in time. But even then, the moon's legacy will remain. Without it, Earth might never have had stable climates, long days, or fertile oceans. Without it, life might never have risen beyond the microscopic. Without it, there might be no us. The moon is not just a satellite. It is a co-creator, a partner in Earth's story. Every breath we take, every step we walk, every moment of human history, all of it is written under the watch of the moon. And yet, there are questions. Did the moon's birth from a cosmic collision also shape Earth's chemistry? Did the violent impact deliver elements essential for life? Was the moon's formation the spark that made Earth special among all the worlds of the solar system? These mysteries connect the moon not only to our past, but to our destiny. For if the moon shaped Earth so profoundly, what might moons mean for other planets? Are large moons the secret ingredient for life in the universe? Perhaps the presence of a moon like ours is what makes a planet inhabitable. If so, then the moon is not just Earth's companion. It is a cosmic key, a clue to the search for life beyond our world. As we look up at the night sky, we are not just seeing a familiar face. We are seeing the architect of Earth's story. The moon shaped our past. It guards our present, and it will influence our future. The moon is woven into the fabric of Earth itself, and in understanding its role, we come to understand our own place in the cosmos.
Since the dawn of humanity, the moon has been more than a distant rock. It has been a mirror of our imagination, a glowing lantern in the night sky that inspired awe, fear, worship, and endless stories. The moon is not just a celestial body, it is a symbol, a canvas onto which human cultures painted their myths and mysteries. When our ancestors first looked up at the glowing orb, they did not see craters and dust. They saw gods, they saw omens, they saw a bridge between the mortal and the divine. Across every civilization, the moon became a central figure in mythology. And though the stories differ, they all carry a sense of reverence. Let us travel through time, culture by culture, to explore how humanity has woven the moon into its spiritual fabric. In Mesopotamia, one of the earliest cradles of civilization, the moon was a god. His name was Sin, also known as Nanna, the god of wisdom. He ruled over cycles of time, guiding farmers, priests, and kings. The Mesopotamians understood that the moon's rhythm controlled the calendar, the tides, and the growth of crops. To them, the moon was a divine clock in the heavens. In ancient Egypt, the moon was linked to Thoth, the god of wisdom, writing, and magic. Thoth was said to measure time by the movements of the moon. Without him, the cosmos would fall into chaos. The Egyptians also connected the moon to rebirth and resurrection, its waxing and waning mirroring the eternal cycles of life and death. In Greece, the moon was personified as Selene, the radiant goddess who drove her silver chariot across the night sky. Later, the moon was associated with Artemis, the virgin huntress, protector of women and the wild. The Greeks saw the moon as a symbol of femininity, purity, and mystery. The Romans, inheriting much of Greek culture, worshipped Luna, a goddess whose name still echoes in our word lunar. Temples were dedicated to her. Priests offered rituals under her light. Even emperors claimed her blessings for power and legitimacy. In China, the moon was celebrated in poetry, art, and myth. The legend of Chang'e, the moon goddess, tells of a woman who drank an elixir of immortality and floated to the moon, where she resides to this day with her jade rabbit. Every year, during the Mid-Autumn Festival, families gather to honor her with mooncakes, lanterns, and prayers. The Chinese saw the moon not just as a distant body, but as a home of immortals and a symbol of eternal love. In India, the moon is called Chandra, a deity linked with emotions, time, and fertility. In Hindu mythology, Chandra rides across the night sky in a chariot pulled by 10 white horses. The moon's cycles are woven into Hindu calendars, rituals, and festivals. It influences astrology, guiding marriages, journeys, and spiritual ceremonies. Among the Aztecs of Mesoamerica, the moon had a darker story. In their mythology, the gods Quetzalcoatl and Tezcatlipoca threw a rabbit into the face of the moon, explaining the markings that we still see today. To them, the moon was not just light, but a battlefield of divine struggle. The Inuit peoples of the Arctic told stories of the sun and moon as siblings. In one myth, the moon, named Anningam, chases his sister, the sun, across the sky. His constant pursuit explains the cycles of night and day. And in Africa, many cultures tied the moon to fertility and the rhythms of planting and harvest. For the San people of the Kalahari, the moon was once a man who angered the sun. Struck down, he now rises and dies again, forever repeating the cycle. Across the world, the moon was more than light. It was a calendar, a guide, a storyteller. The lunar calendar shaped human civilization for millennia. Months, the very word itself, comes from the moon. In many cultures, festivals and rituals are still tied to the lunar cycle. Eclipses were seen as cosmic events, sometimes terrifying, sometimes divine. But myths were not always comforting. The moon also became a source of fear. The word lunacy comes from Luna, the Roman moon goddess. For centuries, people believed that the full moon could drive humans mad. Even today, some swear that crime, accidents, and strange behavior increase when the moon is full. Then there are the stories of werewolves. Legends tell of humans cursed to transform into beasts under the full moon. These myths reflect our fear of losing control, of the wildness hidden within. The moon became a symbol of change, transformation, and the thin line between order and chaos. Poets and artists also turned to the moon for inspiration. In Japanese haiku, in Arabic love songs, in European sonnets, the moon appears as a muse. It represents longing, mystery, beauty, and the unreachable. Countless lovers have sworn their devotion under moonlight. Countless dreamers have seen the moon as a symbol of hope. But alongside myth and poetry, there are mysteries. Strange tales and conspiracies that keep the moon shrouded in suspicion. Some claim the moon is hollow, that its strange vibrations recorded during Apollo missions reveal it to be an artificial structure. Others whisper of alien bases hidden on its far side, beyond human eyes. Photographs from lunar missions have fueled debates about unexplained shadows, lights, and objects. And of course, the greatest modern myth, the claim that the moon landing was faked. Despite overwhelming evidence, some still believe that humanity has never set foot on the moon. To them, the landings were staged in studios, a performance for politics and pride. Why does the moon attract such mystery? Perhaps because it is close enough to see, yet far enough to remain unreachable for most of history. It is familiar, yet alien. Its face never changes, and its secrets are always just beyond our grasp. The moon is also tied to cycles of life. Women's menstrual cycles mirror the length of the lunar month. This connection gave rise to associations between the moon, fertility, and creation. Many ancient cultures saw the moon as the divine feminine, a counterpart to the sun's masculine energy. The moon's waxing and waning became a metaphor for birth, growth, death, and rebirth. It became a teacher of impermanence, a reminder that all things rise, fall, and return. Even today, spiritual traditions honor the moon. Full moon meditations, lunar rituals, and astrology tie human life to lunar cycles. The moon remains a spiritual compass, guiding seekers through light and shadow. Across myths, across cultures, one theme is clear. The moon has always been a reflection of us, our hopes, our fears, our mysteries, and our stories. It is a symbol of love and madness, of gods and monsters, of poetry and conspiracy. It is both sacred and strange, both beautiful and unsettling. The moon is more than a rock in the sky. It is humanity's oldest mirror, and in its glow, we see not just the night, but the soul of our species.
The moon has never belonged only to science. It belongs just as much to the realm of belief, to the whispers told around firelight, to the quiet prayers whispered under silver skies. Throughout the Middle Ages, the moon became a beacon of both fear and fascination in Europe. Astrologers mapped its movements, claiming it could shape destiny. Farmers watched its cycles to plant and harvest. And yet, the same glowing orb was also feared as a source of curses, madness, and sorcery. During the witch trials of Europe, many accused were said to worship the moon. Its phases were believed to empower spells, potions, and rituals. The full moon, especially, was thought to give witches their strongest magic. For the common people, the moon became a mysterious judge, blessing some nights with light and cursing others with strange omens. Even Christian tradition did not ignore the moon. In the Bible, the moon is described as a lesser light to govern the night. Its eclipses were often interpreted as signs of divine wrath or warnings of great events to come. Priests and kings looked to the heavens, trembling when the moon turned red. Beyond Europe, in Japan, the moon became a symbol of elegance and harmony. The tradition of tsukimi, or moon viewing, dates back over 1,000 years. Families would gather under autumn skies to admire the full moon, reciting poetry and offering rice dumplings. The moon was not just a celestial body, it was an aesthetic experience, a moment of beauty shared by all. Japanese poets compared the moon to love, loneliness, and the fleeting nature of life. Its light was soft, transient, and delicate, a reminder that beauty is always temporary. In Korea, the moon held its own mysteries. Ancient Koreans celebrated Chuseok, a harvest festival tied to the full moon, where families gathered to honor ancestors and share food. Legends told of rabbits pounding rice cakes on the lunar surface, a vision still seen in its markings. In the Islamic world, the moon became deeply woven into faith. The Islamic calendar is entirely lunar, with months beginning at the sighting of the new crescent moon. Ramadan, Eid, and other holy times depend on its cycle. To millions, the moon is not only a sign of nature, it is a guide to worship and sacred time. The crescent moon became a powerful symbol, appearing on flags, mosques, and coins. It was both political and spiritual, a reminder that time itself bends to the rhythm of the heavens. But myths are not only about gods and religion. Some are strange, eerie, and deeply human. In European folklore, the man in the moon became a common figure. Stories varied. Some said he was a thief punished to carry sticks forever, his shadow cast on the moon's face. Others claimed he was Cain, cursed to wander the heavens for eternity. For children, the man in the moon was a friendly figure, a cosmic companion. For adults, he was a reminder of punishment, exile, and the weight of sin. Other cultures saw not a man but animals. In China and Japan, many believed they saw a rabbit pounding rice. In Mesoamerica, the Aztecs saw the marks as a rabbit thrown into the moon's face. The patterns of craters became a global Rorschach test, shaping myths in every land. The moon also became a guide for navigation. Sailors used its light and its cycles to cross oceans. Its gravitational pull, shaping tides, became essential knowledge for survival. In Polynesia, master navigators read the sky like a map,
using the moon alongside stars to guide voyages across vast waters. Without it, great migrations across the Pacific may never have been possible. The moon was not just myth, it was practical. It was a tool for survival, woven into the very rhythm of human life. But for every practical use, there are also mysteries. Take the phenomenon of moon halos, glowing rings of light that sometimes appear around the moon. Caused by ice crystals in the upper atmosphere, they were long believed to be omens. To farmers, they warned of storms. To priests, they foretold death or disaster. Then there are blood moons, lunar eclipses that turn the moon red. Ancient cultures saw them as apocalyptic signs. In Mesopotamia, a blood moon was thought to predict the death of a king. In some Native American traditions, it was a sign of war. Even in modern times, blood moons inspire apocalyptic prophecies and fear. And what about the idea that the moon affects human behavior? For centuries, doctors, philosophers, and mystics believed that the moon controlled not only the tides, but also our minds. The word lunatic reveals this belief, that madness swells under the full moon. Even today, hospitals and police stations report that strange events cluster around full moons. Science has found little evidence, but the myth persists. Perhaps it is not about proof, but perception. The full moon shines brighter, shadows sharpen, and the night feels alive. In that silver light, we feel different, restless, alert, uneasy. It is no wonder that myths of madness, crime, and transformation cling to the full moon. From myths of gods and demons, to folklore of animals and men, to fears of madness, curses, and prophecy, the moon has been a stage where humanity projects its deepest imagination. It is both the comforting nightlight and the terrifying unknown. The moon has always been both.
For thousands of years, the moon was only a distant mystery, a glowing companion in the sky that stirred imagination, inspired myth, and guided calendars, but never allowed its secrets to be touched. Then came the 20th century, when humanity finally built the machines to cross the void and set foot upon its surface, forever changing our relationship with our celestial neighbor and opening a new chapter in science and exploration, a chapter that continues to this day and will shape the future of our species. When Neil Armstrong stepped down onto the lunar surface in 1969, the world held its breath, for this was not simply the achievement of one nation, it was the achievement of humanity itself, a moment when dreams of centuries turned into reality, when the moon, once unreachable, became a place where human footprints could be pressed into ancient dust. The Apollo missions that followed brought back not only samples of rock and soil, but also knowledge that reshaped our understanding of the moon and of Earth itself. Scientists learned that the moon is not a dead, unchanging sphere, but a complex world with a violent history, shaped by collisions, volcanic activity, and billions of years of cosmic weathering. The samples revealed that the moon and Earth share common origins, strengthening the theory that a colossal impact early in Earth's history gave birth to our companion. Instruments left behind by astronauts recorded moonquakes, measured solar wind, and provided insights into the lunar environment, showing that the moon was not merely a static backdrop, but a dynamic participant in the solar system. Yet, Apollo was more than science. It was symbolism. It showed that humanity could dream beyond borders, that nations locked in rivalry could push technology to its limits and achieve the impossible. and it inspired generations of scientists, engineers, and ordinary dreamers to look upward. But Apollo ended too soon. After only a handful of missions, the program was canceled, and for decades, humans did not return. The moon waited, silent, as robotic probes from many nations continued the work. In the 21st century, a new wave of exploration began, one not driven only by competition, but by cooperation, commerce, and long-term vision. Space agencies across the globe sent orbiters, landers, and rovers to map, study, and search for resources. Japan launched missions that orbited and bombarded the surface with impactors to study its composition. China achieved historic landings with its Chang'e program, deploying rovers on both the near and far side, revealing new minerals and capturing breathtaking panoramas. India reached the moon with Chandrayaan missions, detecting evidence of water in the form of ice hidden within shadowed craters at the poles. The United States, through NASA, returned with missions like the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, which mapped the surface in exquisite detail and prepared the groundwork for future human landings. What these robotic explorers have shown is extraordinary. The moon is not a barren wasteland of only dust and rock. It is a treasure trove of resources and a potential gateway to the solar system. At its poles, hidden in craters where sunlight never reaches, lies frozen water, locked away for billions of years. Water that could one day be harvested for drinking, for agriculture, and more importantly, for fuel, since water can be split into hydrogen and oxygen, the same propellants that power rockets. This means the moon could serve as a refueling station, a cosmic harbor where spacecraft departing from Mars and beyond could replenish before continuing their journeys. The implications are staggering because suddenly interplanetary travel becomes more feasible, and the moon transforms from destination into stepping stone. But using the moon in this way requires more than imagination. It requires technology, infrastructure, and the courage to build a permanent human presence beyond Earth. That is the vision of the Artemis program, NASA's ambitious effort to return humans to the moon in this decade, not just to visit, but to stay. Artemis aims to land the first woman and the next man on the lunar surface, to build habitats, test technologies, and prepare for missions to Mars. It involves international partners from Europe, Japan, Canada, and beyond, as well as private companies that are reshaping the economics of spaceflight. The program envisions a gateway station orbiting the moon, a small outpost that will act as a hub for missions, research, and transport, a permanent presence that could one day rival the International Space Station in importance. Meanwhile, China pursues its own long-term plans, aiming to establish a lunar base in the 2030s, powered by nuclear technology and capable of supporting scientific research and resource extraction. Russia, India, and other nations have also announced their lunar ambitions, and private enterprises dream of mining the moon for rare metals or creating tourist destinations under its eternal skies. For the first time in history, humanity faces the real possibility that the moon will not be empty, that flags, habitats, and industries may mark its surface, and that generations may grow up seeing not only the familiar face in the night sky, but also a beacon of human presence shining back. Yet, this future is not without challenges. The moon is a harsh environment with no atmosphere to breathe, no protection from radiation, and extreme cycles of heat and cold. Lunar dust, sharp as glass, clings to everything and could damage lungs, machinery, and habitats. Survival requires ingenuity, shielding, and sustainable systems. Energy must be harvested, likely from solar panels stretched across the surface, and food must be grown in controlled environments,
recycling every drop of water and every breath of air. But humanity has always thrived by turning challenges into stepping stones, and the moon may be the place where these solutions are perfected, where the first seeds of an interplanetary civilization take root.
And so, after all the mysteries, the science, the myths, the hidden forces, and the visions of tomorrow, one truth remains clear. The moon is not only a companion to Earth, it is a companion to us all, a mirror of our curiosity, a keeper of our history, and a gateway to our destiny. For billions of years, it has circled silently above, shaping our tides, guiding our calendars, inspiring our stories. And now, at last, it calls to us with new purpose. Not only to look, not only to dream, but to go, to step beyond our world and begin the journey of becoming more than we have ever been. The moon is our teacher, our testing ground, our lighthouse in the dark of space. And though its surface is quiet, though its skies are empty, it speaks to us in every rise above the horizon, whispering of possibilities yet to come, of futures waiting to be written among the stars. Humanity's story is still young, and the chapters ahead are unwritten. But one day, when people live and work beneath the glow of Earth seen from lunar skies, when great ships depart from lunar harbors, bound for Mars, for Europa, for the farthest reaches of the cosmos, it will be said that this was the moment it began, the moment we embraced our celestial neighbor, not as mystery alone, but as our first true step into the universe. The moon's hidden secrets are no longer hidden. They are an invitation, a reminder that the universe is vast, that our journey has only just begun, and that every glance skyward is a call to wonder, to courage, to exploration. If you want to keep uncovering the mysteries of space, if you want to journey with us into the unknown, then don't forget to subscribe to Star Sky Science, because together we will keep looking beyond the horizon, beyond the night, and into the infinite. This is only the beginning.